Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
And what is up, you guys? Welcome to the stream. We had a little hiatus over the weekend for Memorial Day. Very busy though, still putting out all kinds of stuff for you guys, and hopefully you've checked it out, including my most recent video that I posted today. Bobby Valentine's Secret MLB Genius. We go through all of Bobby Valentine's illustrious career, of course, including his wacky antics with the New York Mets. But I am back now with our post-game streams, and we are back with another Mets victory, their fourth consecutive win as they defeat the White Sox by a final score of 6-4. They have taken the first two games of this series here with the bottom-feeding Chicago White Sox. Exactly what we needed this team to do. Exactly what you said when you looked ahead to the schedule 2 weeks ago. Guys, what's up? I am Tony Metro. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. I do daily Mets content. We do post-game streams. I post little shorts here and there, and then I'm also doing a lot of long-form videos as well, like that Bobby Valentine video that I just mentioned a moment ago. You could also check out my previous one to that. That was how the 1992 Mets became the worst team that money can buy. Really appreciate all my new subscribers here, all my old subscribers. Love you guys just as much too. And of course, any other Mets fans that come along the way. Metropoly, what is up, man? I know it feels like it was a long time, right? It was only last Thursday. That was my last stream. Well, I guess it was Wednesday because it was the final game of the Red Sox series. And I would immediately kind of jumped into working on this Bobby V video, which again is up on my channel right now. Check that out after this stream concludes. But yeah, I know Mets were off on Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was unavailable to do my streams after that Dodgers series. But hey, 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. I mean, very nearly could have been a sweep this past weekend against the defending World Series champions. Obviously, we know how Friday went. It wasn't the most convincing 2 out of 3, but we take it no matter how you can get it, just like we take it here against the White Sox. So again, the Mets take this one 6-4. They fall into an early hole. Tyler McGill gives up a pop-up 2-run homer to Miguel Vargas in the very first frame, and you're thinking, oh boy, this could get off the rails really quickly. We know Tyler McGill pitched pretty well his last time out, much better than his previous 3 appearances before that, and he's definitely on the radar right now. He is being not scrutinized, but evaluated very closely right now because we are getting closer and closer to having Sean Manaea and Frankie Montas make their returns to the rotation. So every start for Tyler McGill right now is an audition. That is, of course, if the Mets don't go to a 6-man rotation, but he pitched pretty well today. I mean, he had that first little bugaboo in the first inning with Vargas giving up that 2-run homer and then was able to get out almost in through 6 innings. He ends up having to get pulled with 2 outs in the 5th as he walked the bases loaded there. We'll get into him in a second. Timothy Frith, what's up, man? Mets beat the Sox 6-4. That's right, sir. Stoney, what is up, my man? Stoney, appreciate you hopping in. Metropoly, I scored cheap ticks tomorrow. People dumping their ticks. Yeah, so, I mean, Gary Cohen mentioned it probably 100 times on the broadcast tonight, but tomorrow's game has been moved to the afternoon. Just so you know, Metropoly, just so you're aware, if you didn't hear Gary Cohen say it, 20,000 times tonight on the broadcast. Tomorrow's Mets White Sox game is now at 1:10 in the afternoon, not in the evening. Good for you, man. Where are you sitting? Let me know. I love Citi Field. There's almost no bad seats. The only part of Citi Field that I think actually has bad seats is probably left field upper deck, like the upper tank there where that away visitor scoreboard or whatever you want to call it, road scoreboard is, are probably the worst seats in the house there, and they're usually empty. So that's the one like part of Citi Field that like I would never sit in unless it was a World Series. Then like whatever, I'll pay whatever it costs to be in the World Series. I don't care if I was sitting on the roof. I would do that. But other than that, hope you have a good time, Metropoly. Let me know where you are sitting tomorrow. But back to this game. Tyler McGill gives up that 2-run homer. And again, he's being evaluated here, for this final rotation spot. You got Paul Blackburn potentially coming back, though I do not believe he is being considered for this rotation with the way it is pitched. But of course, Sean Manaea is going to get immediately inserted. I don't know about Frankie Montas, honestly. Like, I don't know if he's like a shoo-in to join this rotation when Frankie Montas is fully healthy. And that's mainly because of how well Griffin Canning has pitched. before his few last starts, Tyler McGill looked like he might have cemented a spot in this rotation as well. Obviously, that's not the case anymore. It is totally up for grabs for that 6th rotation spot, should the Mets choose to do that. But overall, not a terrible appearance by any means for Tyler McGill. And I think a big part of that was because the Mets come right back in the first inning. They get the base hit there from who was it? Oh my God, I'm blanking right now. I gotta look in the Mets lineup. Anyway, it was Brandon Nimmo who got a base hit up the middle. Okay, now my memory is back because it was such a weird play. Juan Soto hitting that ball into right center field. It's clearly a trap, at least on replay, but the only umpire that signaled it on that call was the first base umpire. Meanwhile, Brandon Nimmo's already rounding second. He's looking over his shoulder to see if it is a catch or not, but how could he possibly know without an umpire giving him the signal from third base or the second base umpire? So a weird play for the Mets as he tries going back to first base to avoid the double play. They end up calling Soto out on that one because Nimmo passed him. And after the first inning home run from the White Sox, I was thinking, this could be a bad game for the Mets. This could be a really bad, ugly game for the Mets tonight. But never mind that, because after that, Pete Alonso, 2-run homer to dead central. Mets take the 2-1 lead. And from there, the Mets end up getting 7 consecutive hits, depending on how you end up scoring that. Soto, whatever it is, you can't call it a hit. They actually changed the call on it. They're talking about it right now on the SMY postgame right here. So they did not actually credit Soto with a hit there. So the Mets technically did not get 7 straight hits, but a really, really impressive showing from the Mets lineup as they just totally light cannon up there in the first inning. They scored another 2-run homer off for Garrett Young, his first hit with the Mets since joining the team, and immediately jump out to a 4-2 lead. Add another run in the third inning, Jeff McNeil with a sacrifice fly. That was great to see when he was down in the 0-2 count. The Mets not hitting with runners in scoring position, but at the very least getting a runner in that situation. I was still a little disappointed with that third, though, because it was second and third, nobody out. Mark Vientos continues to struggle with runners in scoring position. He hit a little bloop pop-up behind first base. Then McNeil, down 0-2 in the count, at least was able to bear down and get one of those runs home. But still, warts continue to show for this team with runners in scoring position. We saw it yesterday as well on Memorial Day. The Mets only 2 runs coming in the 8th and 9th inning on sacrifice flies. We've talked about it ad nauseum. I'm not going to continue to go into it. We know that it has to be better. John Kernan, what's up? Hey, isn't Soto doing anything? I think he should be not signed of him. He's bad. Yeah, look. It sucks. Soto, is not hitting. He's not seeing the ball great. He's striking out still. It's been a problem. We know that. Got robbed on that call. First of all, he hit that ball really well. The expected batting average was probably pretty high on it. He has been getting robbed all year long. He's been hitting into hard, loud outs all year long. But putting that aside, yes, he has looked pretty miserable. His play, not his actual demeanor, but his play has not looked great. He has not looked good at the plate. He did not in that series against the Dodgers. I think it's been 64, 65 at bats since his last home run. So there's no painting a pretty picture, putting lipstick on a pig regarding Juan Soto. He has looked horrible so far. And there it is. I said it. I finally said it out loud. I feel so much better. I am relieved. But despite that, Mets are still 13 games over 500. Mets are now within 1 game of the Phillies. I don't know what they did with the Braves. I know they were playing tonight. Let's take a look at that score, actually, see who won that ball game. Phillies ended up losing. Nope, they won. Sorry, I'm a liar. So the Phillies are still a game and a half ahead of the Mets, but you know what? I think they're playing out of their minds right now. They're playing their best baseball. The Mets are not even close to playing their best baseball right now. I think we're still a much better team than the Phillies. I don't care what anybody wants to say. They are riding a hot streak. The Mets are not playing very good at all, despite winning 4 straight. I think the Mets are a better team than the Phillies. I think the oil will rise to the top and cream rise to the top. I don't know, whatever the saying is. And the Mets will prove to be the best team in the National League. Look, we swept them about a month and a half ago. It's a whole different season from month to month, but I still steadfast in my position that I think the Mets are a better team than. So we go off on a tangent, but it is what it is. The Phillies are riding a hot streak. What are you going to do? It is what it is. Let's get back to this game, though. McGill, again, it wasn't the best start we've ever seen. Obviously, puts them in the immediate hole, but like that, he was able to bear down, have scoreless innings in the second, third, and fourth, and then fifth as well. Very nearly completed the sixth inning as well. But unfortunately, as we always talk about with Tyler McGill, walks come back to bite him. He ends up walking the final two batters that he faces, even after Mendoza went out there to give him a pep talk on the mound. And that's when the Mets had to pull him. His final line for the evening, 5 2/3, ends up giving up 4 hits, but 4 walks. Again, it's always the free passes that kill Tyler McGill. He did strike out 6 batters, so 5 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs. Not a bad start by any means. I'm not going to just give him bouquets of flowers because he's facing a Chicago White Sox lineup that, outside of Andrew Benintendi, I literally could not name one other of those players. Mike Tauchman would be the other one. Luis Robert did not get the start today. This is one of the worst teams in baseball. The Mets absolutely should be killing this team. And unfortunately, they've been a little closer than I would have liked for both yesterday's game and this evening. But you take the win. A win is a win is a win, and you can't be too upset about it. Hopefully, it will propel the Mets to getting back to their normal brand of baseball. But overall, not terrible start from Tyler McGill. They go to Jose Butto, who immediately on the first pitch is able to get a fly out to left center field. Jeff McNeil was able to track that one down. But I'm just going to say it, man, I was totally wrong about Jose Butto. I thought Jose Butto was going to be one of the best relievers in baseball by the end of 2025. I really, truly believed it because of his ability to pitch in basically any situation, in long relief and high leverage, to come in for 1 out, to come in and, save a ball game. He has not been anything like we saw from Jose Butto last year, where he was wicked with that slider. His fastball was totally in command in all different 4 quadrants of the zone. Butto does not look like that guy whatsoever. I don't know what's going on with him, honestly. I don't know if maybe it's just a different role for him this year, but really he never had a role with this team last season, and he was so successful. And there really hasn't been a defined runway for Butto this year either. So I don't understand what's going on with him, because then in the very next inning, in the 7th, he gets into trouble. He ends up giving up 3 hits and 2 earned runs are charged to him. His season ERA now sits at 3.81. Not a great appearance from Butto. I thought he was going to be that guy we could go to at any point in the game, like Huascar Brazoban. I thought he would be what Huascar Brazoban has been for the 2025 Mets. It's almost like they have completely reversed their roles. Like, Brazoban has done what I thought Butto would do, and Butto has been what I thought Brazoban was going to be, who I didn't even think would make this roster. But it is what it is. And Jorge Castillo actually comes in of relief of Butto. And just like Butto did for Tyler McGill, he is able to clean up that mess, get the final 2 outs of that inning, gives up a hit. There's a pass ball Francisco Alvarez could not corral, and all of a sudden, 5-4 ball game. Things are getting really, really dicey. Fortunately, though, Reed Garrett comes in. He gets 2 outs in the 8th inning, and then pitches a 1-2-3-4 9th inning as he's able to get the White Sox down. And the Mets finish this one off with a 6-4 victory. Reed Garrett with his 2nd save in the Mets' last 4 games. He did it on Saturday against the Dodgers. Now he did it here again today for them. So the Mets getting a nice little tidy victory without needing Edwin Diaz. Of course, we know he pitched yesterday. So overall, really collective effort. The lineup did some good things, and then there were some things I didn't love. So let's get into some of the good things. Obviously, they attacked Cannon in the 1st inning, 2 2-run homers, 7 straight hits, again, depending on how you're viewing that Juan Soto dunking ball in right center field. And I was thinking, wow, the Mets might run away with a game for once. The Mets have the most 1-run victories in Major League Baseball this year. They got another one yesterday. They got one on Saturday against the Dodgers. That's a good thing. That's a good thing to have a good record in 1-run games. But also, it's not truly the sign of a dominant team. I'd like to, maybe have a couple 4, 5, 6-run wins. That would be nice too. Maybe not have agita the entire night, burping up my dinner all nervous with how the game is going from start to finish. That would be nice too. So that is something that I would definitely like to see the Mets do a little bit more of, and it starts with scoring more runs. We know this team has struggled so mightily with runners in scoring position this year. It has just been like pulling teeth. They, of course, do a little bit better here tonight, but most of that was thanks to the home runs. And, of course, then they end up going just 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position on the night. They do get the sacrifice fly from Jeff McNeil with runners at second and third. So that does not go down as a hit, but it did bring in a run. So I give him credit there. But overall, after that, the Mets only had 1 hit from the 3rd inning on until there were 2 outs in the 9th. So the Mets do end up rallying in the 9th. That's the positive. 3 straight hits. You get one from Francisco Alvarez. You get one from, it was Jeff McNeil, and then it was Francisco Lindor driving it in with an RBI hit to add some insurance and make this game 6-4. That was the positive. 3 straight hits in the 9th. You add an insurance run with 2 outs. Love all of that. That was their lone hit with runners in scoring position when Lindor brought McNeil home. It was actually Acuna pinch running with that run. But the Mets, from the 3rd inning until that point, only had 1 hit. And that has been a far too common theme for this lineup this season. Too many zeros for consecutive innings, and not just zeros, goose eggs on the scoreboard from the 3rd on to the 8th or the 3rd on all the way through the 9th, but hitless innings, no base runners for multiple innings. It has been so difficult to watch some of these games. I mean, there are some innings, the 7th, the White Sox reliever only had to throw 7 pitches, and I believe it was Brett Beatty, you had Mark Vientos, and Jared Young in that inning. So, look, you're not going to expect a lot out of Jared Young despite him having 2 hits tonight, but a 7-pitch inning in the 7th, when at that point it was a 4-3 or a 5-3 game. I mean, it was too close to take much comfort in that. So, again, I don't know what the solution is. Everyone's screaming fire Eric Chavez. I don't know if that's going to be the fix, but something about this approach is still funky. It's just the first time in 15 games the Mets scored more than 5 runs. Like, think about that. That is almost half a month without scoring more than 5 runs. And we're expecting this team to average 5 runs a game. You're not going to get there when you only score more than 5 one time in the last 15 games. So, yes, they score 6. Yes, they win the ball game. They end up tallying double-digit hits with 12, but I still didn't come away super blown away by the Mets lineup or their offensive performance in this one. Oniel Mendez, Mets 2025. Yes, sir. World Series. Let's get it. Stoney, I'll just ask you in the comment section after you stream my question. What was your question there? Why did they change the time to because they have inclement weather tomorrow. So apparently it's supposed to be pretty nasty weather in the evening in New York, and that's why they changed the game time, which I credit the Mets like big time. Major props to the Mets for that, because like from 2021 to 2023, Mets fans were going to the ballpark on rainy nights and they would be stuck in the stairwell for 2-3 hour rain delays before they were just like, yeah, no, we're not playing today. Like, thanks for buying all the refreshments and stuff at the stands, but go home. It's such a blow to be a fan and have that happen to you. And I've had it happen to me. It sucks. So love that the Mets got out ahead of it. Inclement weather tomorrow, and that is why they have changed tomorrow's game, the final game of the series with the White Sox, to 1:10 in the afternoon. So if you are going to the game, be aware. Yeah, the game is in the afternoon tomorrow. Gary Cohn was saying that many, many times on the broadcast tonight. So again, the lineup, it was okay. It wasn't the greatest performance. 6 runs, 12 hits. Normally you'd say, oh, that's a great day for the lineup. But the way they did it, it came really early and often, and then from there, 3rd inning on, just 1 hit until they finally bust out in the 9th again for that insurance run. Love what Lindor did today. You know, he has really been slumping. That average is down to 275, which, look, if that's what he's doing by the end of the year, okay. But the OPS is only at 807 right now. It's been a while since he's hit a home run. Just two hits in this one. He gets the RBI there. He had a double earlier in the game as well. He did strike out twice, but good to see Lindor get 2 knocks in this one. Soto ends up with probably the worst 0 for 4 of the season, which is crazy because he's had some really unfair, unfortunate ones, but that should have been a base hit for him in the 1st inning. Does not get marked down on him. He just can't catch a break at this point. OPS for Soto is below 800 at this point. It's actually at 756. It's a serious crisis. The Mets are winning, but Soto has become a serious crisis. So I don't know. I'm out of words on it. I don't know what else to say about it. point. Hopefully it turns around fast. I mean, that's all you can hope for. Alonso gets the home run. That's his lone hit in this one. That was his 11th of the season. Hard to believe because, before that homer against the Dodgers the other night, he had gone 16 consecutive games without a homer. That was the longest home run drought of his career. And now he hits one today. So hopefully Pete is getting that power stroke back and he could go on a little bit of a heater here. Brett Beatty with 2 more hits in this one. Holy crap, what the hell happened to Brett Beatty? All of a sudden, the guy is hitting .250 on the season. He has the same OPS as Juan Soto. Okay, Soto has a 756, Beatty has a 755, but what the hell? I think that says either really good things about Brett Beatty or really bad things about Juan Soto. I'll let you guys decide, but good day for Beatty. Vientos ended up with a base hit in this one, and then you had Jeff McNeil with 2 hits and, of course, the sacrifice fly as well. So, overall, decent day for the lineup. Like I said, the 6 runs, 12 hits, I don't think tells the entire story. They kind of padded it all in the first inning, and then after that, took their foot off the gas and didn't do much until the 9th there. So, not the greatest of performances, but you're not going to apologize or be upset when you do get 6 runs. For the pitching side, like I said, Buto pitched pretty well. McGill pitched pretty well, 5 2/3. Would have liked to have seen him get that final out in the 6th inning. That's the thing about McGill. It's like when he hits a wall, he's done. Like he crash lands into that wall head first. It's just like what we saw in that game against the Yankees on that Friday night opener. Couldn't get through the 3rd inning, and he just could not find the strike zone for his life. When he is out of it, he is out of it. He is done. Would have loved to have seen him get that final out. He ends up walking the final 2 batters of his appearance, but not the worst start in the world. And I do believe that when we are at full health in this rotation with Montas and with Sean Manaea and possibly Paul Blackburn, McGill is going to be either that kind of guy you pull out for a, spot start or someone firing bullets out of the bullpen. I don't know what their plan is with him. I've always thought McGill would succeed out of the bullpen, but I don't know his mental makeup. I don't know if he wants to do that. And if he doesn't want to do that, well, he's probably not going to succeed unless he's willing to accept that role. And they could really use it because Buto, like I said, has just not been Jose Buto of 2020. Gives up those 2 runs in just an inning. Jorge Castillo has not been so bad for the Mets. He has a 7.20 ERA, but that was really a product of 1 bad outing so far. He hasn't been bad at all for the team in 2025. Let's take a look. He ends up going now 10 innings so far. I'm sorry. Those earned runs for Castillo all came with Arizona. He had an 11.37 ERA. He pitched 6 1/3 innings for the Diamondbacks and gave 8 earned runs. But so far with the Mets, 3 2/3 innings. Mendoza has picked out his runways really selectively, really strategically. Castillo has been really solid. He's made 4 appearances so far, 3 2/3 scoreless innings. He does it again for the Mets tonight. He bails out Buto. He ends up getting just 2 outs in this game, but that was all they need because, again, Reed Garrett going 1 2/3, gets the 5-out save. Great performance from him. His ERA, almost what his jersey number is. He wears number 75. Reed Garrett has an 0.76 ERA this year. That is just ridiculous. And this isn't a guy that's only pitching like once a week or doing mop-up duty or anything like that. This is a guy going into the teeth of the opposing lineup and getting big outs in all different scenarios. The 7th inning, the 8th, the 9th, coming in with runners inherited, starting out innings, going from 1 inning and getting an out, and then going into the next and getting 2 more, or even completing the inning. It has been a ridiculous season for Reed Garrett. He has gone 23 2/3 innings pitched and has an 0.76 ERA. Tremendous job from Reed Garrett. Did not need to use Ryan Stanek today. Did not need to use Edwin Diaz. So huge props to Reed Garrett on this one tonight. Buzz Bass, yes, we should worry about Soto. He's getting paid way too much money for this crappy start. Enough of the sulking and start hitting already. Dude, you should get in the clubhouse and tell him that because I could not have said it any better myself. My goodness. Like, the body language looks bad. Okay, I did not want to feed into it. Like, it was just a bunch of trolls at first, Yankee fans and other fans that were just pissed the Mets signed him, talking about his body language and he looks miserable. But I got to be honest, like, he does. He does. And I don't think he is miserable because he signed with the Mets. I think he's miserable because he's not hitting. Real question is, why is he not hitting like Juan Soto? The Juan Soto that tortured us when he was with the Nationals, that torched us with the San Diego Padres in the 2022 wild card, or was an MVP runner-up or a third place finish, whatever it was, in the American League with the Yankees last year. I don't get it. I am out of answers with Juan Soto. I am happy the Mets are winning. They go back to 13 games over 500. It matches their high watermark for the season, but I am just at a loss for words with what is going on with Juan. Like, it is just so bizarre. I can't figure it out at all. Stoney says, Griffin Canning, I love what I've been seeing from him. Hope we sign him to an extension. And then you also said, you think, Tony, we have to be too worried about Soto? Yeah, I mean, I just basically laid it out there about Soto. Brett the Met Beatty, proud of him. Dude, I'm super stoked about Beatty, man. Like, I'm still not buying, like, stock in the Brett Beatty, investment fund just yet because the dude has burned us so many times. I don't believe in him fully yet. But as long as he's hitting the way he is, yeah, I'll continue to support him. I'll continue to say he needs to be in the lineup every day. He actually got moved up in the lineup today for the first time since this little streak came around. He was hitting 5th behind Pete Alonso. So that was a really cool thing to see for Brett Beatty. He has been through it, man. You come into New York, you're a top overall prospect. The kid is from Texas. Like, probably never imagined he'd be playing in New York City with all these expectations, not only as a first-round draft pick, but to be the starting third baseman on, a team with World Series aspirations, a fan base that is starved and ravenous to see a ticker tape parade down the Canyon of Heroes. And he's come out the other side. He's done everything right. He's said all the right things. So credit to Brett Beatty for that. Glad to see him coming around. Let's just hope that it lasts now. As far as Griffin Canning, I don't know if they're going to do an extension with him, man. I think the way the Mets are going to just operate for the foreseeable future with David Stearns is exactly how these first two. Last year, they signed Luis Severino and Sean Manaea. Both of them turned in really good seasons. Manaea got rewarded with the extension. Severino did not. He obviously went to the Athletic. So if Canning does continue to have a great season for the Mets in 2025, I think there's every opportunity the Mets will consider re-signing him. But if the number isn't where David Stearns has it in his head, he will show him the door and let him go to another team, just like the Mets did with Luis Severino going out to West Sacramento to play for the Athletic, whatever they're calling themselves. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how that works out. I mean, we kind of got a logjam in the rotation. And we know David Stearns likes his homegrown prospects, especially in the rotation. We have seen some really good things out of those arms, and none of them named Brandon Sproat. Sproat has actually been really bad in AAA so far, and that's coming off a really bad performance in Syracuse last year as well. But Nolan McLean, Jonah Tong, a couple other guys have really impressed in the Mets minor league system. So there's also a really big possibility the Mets don't invest in much starting pitching moving forward, and they see what they have in some of those young arms that are coming through the system. Good question, though, Stoney. Agree, Beatty defense has been really good. Yeah, I mean, Vientos' defense has been so bad that it's like anything else is going to be an upgrade, but Beatty has been pretty solid defensively at third base. I don't like him at second, but we got to get his bat in the lineup. I want Mark Vientos to play third base. I mean, it's sketch because his defense sucks, but I think the only way you get Mark Vientos from last year at the plate is if you get him back to a normal routine, and that's playing in the field, playing third base. So I don't know. I'm like really torn on what to do with Vientos because we want to win. We want to get good defense out of a third baseman, but I also am like concerned about Vientos' long-term development. And I don't want to potentially stunt it by putting him in and out of third base and in and out of the lineup and some days at DH. So it's like a catch-22. Like, do you want to put Soto or do you want to put Vientos out at third base, risk the poor defense, or do you want to play Brett Beatty there and then have Vientos potentially be down on himself and not comfortable in the DH role? It's a tough one, but Beatty has been playing a far better DH or a far better third base, and he has been way better at the plate over the first 2 months of the season here for the Mets. So you got to give Beatty, got to ride the hot hand, keep giving him the starts. Vientos is practically handing him third base. Not only been terrible with the glove, his power has been left in the NLCS. Yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know what is going on with him either. It is so strange with Vientos. Like, he's not going to the opposite field, I think, is his biggest issue. He is trying to pull everything. He is trying to hit 700-foot homers to left field. It's the same with Francisco Alvarez. I know he had a hit yesterday that set up the game-winning run. I know he had a base hit tonight as well. Credit to him for those, but they seem like they are just trying to hit mammoth home runs every time they are at the plate, instead of getting back to going opposite field, instead of getting back to going up the middle and what got them to the major leagues in the first place. This is major league pitching, guys. This is not minor leagues anymore. I think that Vientos might have got a little too swaggy for himself, and maybe he's just thinking, oh, I did this last year. I could just go out there and do it again. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a heartthrob. All the girls love me. All the Mets fan girls love Swaggy V. I don't know. I'm not saying he's not prepping the same way he did last season, but it's a sophomore slump. Something ain't right with him. It's concerning for sure. But you got to keep giving Beatty the time, man. You got to keep giving Beatty starts at third base if he keeps hitting this way. Yeah, and Quintana was actually a signing by Billy Epler before the 2023 season. We barely saw Quintana in 2023. And then in 2024, he was really, really solid. But like those kind of under the radar signings are exactly what I think the Mets will continue to do for the rotation. Like 1 year prove it deals, maybe 2 year deals, kind of like what Frankie Montas got this offseason from David Stearns. They are not going to go out and spend the big money on those aging starting pitchers that have, you know, like 800 innings, 900 innings on their arm already. Like, they are not going to do that. And I mean, how many times do those contracts work out for teams? Like, the best example right now this year is the Yankees signing Max Fried. Obviously, he leads the world in earned run average. He's been the best pitcher in the American League, possibly all of baseball this year. I'm still putting my money on that contract is not going to be good for the Yankees long term. Like, you can say, well, look at his numbers right now, Tony. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're an idiot. If there were Yankee fans in this chat, they'd be calling me an idiot. That's great. He's having a great year right now. Talk to me again 3 years from now. That's exactly what David Stearns is trying to avoid. That's why he's going for those high upside, low risk, high reward kind of pitchers like the Luis Severinos from last year and Sean Manaeas, and now this year with Griffin Canning. So I think that is going to be how they operate until David Stearns says he doesn't want to do the job anymore. And that is A-okay with me because so far the dude is basically 3 for 3. I think the one starting pitching guy that he missed on was Adrian Hauser, who very nearly shut the Mets down yesterday as they almost lost to the White Sox. That would have been such a bad loss if they did end up losing that one. Adrian Hauser going 6 2/3 innings of scoreless ball. Oh my God, that would have been the worst. Just the absolute worst. Buzz Bass Vientos is practically, oh, you already said that. Sorry, buddy. I already read that one for you. But guys, what is your main takeaway from today? How did you feel about the offense? I already told you how I felt about it. I was like, yeah, look at the final line, 6 runs, 12 hits. That's great. Well, 7 of those hits came in the first inning, and 4 of those runs came in the first inning, and then they only had 1 hit between the 3rd and the 9th. So, like, decent performance. First time they scored more than 5 runs in 15 games, but from, like, wire to wire, it wasn't the most impressive performance. So let me know in the comment section below. And guys, leave this video a like. Really appreciate it. Goes a long way toward helping out the channel. Little bit of channel news. Like I said, if you're just joining now, I just dropped my new video today. Bobby Valentine's Secret Genius, the bizarre baseball journey of the former Mets manager. You guys could check that out when I finish this stream here. I think it's a pretty fun one and talks all about his time, not only as a Mets manager, but before that, including his playing career and the 2 trips to different countries that he managed in as well. So really interesting, at least I thought it was. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let's take a look at tomorrow's matchup. Again, the game has been moved from the evening to an afternoon game. I repeat, if you have tickets to go to the Mets and White Sox finale on Wednesday, now at 1:10. So not show up at 6 o'clock because nobody will be there. Show up at noon. Elvin Solano, Luis Angel, the Venezuelan Tasmanian Devil is valued to this team. Yeah, he's valuable to this team. It'd be nice if he would hit a little bit more. You know, I really am a big Luis Angel Acuna believer. I said it all off season. I said it first month of this season that I wanted him to start every day at second base. I still kind of feel that way, but now with the whole Beatty and Vientos situation going on, I don't know anymore. He has not been hitting, but that speed on the base pass is huge. Like, I would not send Luis Angel Acuna down because outside of Tyrone Taylor, there is not a lot of speed on this team. Luis Angel Acuna is super valuable to them off the bench as a pinch runner, just like he was tonight. Let's see. Stoney, the only thing that bothers me is the Phillies. They're on another planet now, and we should be in first place. Yeah, but like, here's how I look at it, and this is what I said earlier about it. I do think the Mets are better than the Phillies. The Phillies are playing out of their mind right now. Mets are playing not great baseball despite being on a 4-game winning streak, and we're still only a game and a half out. Like, come on. Like, think about that. They're playing their best baseball. The Mets are coming off a 2-week stretch of probably their worst baseball, and the Mets are still only a game and a half behind them. They just had a 4-game series with the Rockies, who are historically going to be one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball. They might set the all-time worst record in a Major League season that the White Sox just set last year. Now the Mets have these 3 with the Sox, and then we play the Rockies for 3. So now we get our shot at some of the bottom feeders in the league. And then after that, yeah, we got to go to LA, 4-game series with the Dodgers. So that's going to suck probably, even though we won 2 out of 3 this past weekend with them. I'm very worried about that series in LA, especially 4 games. But then we go right to Colorado and we play the Rockies again for 3. So 9 out of our next 13 games are against the White Sox and against the Rockies. It's our turn. It is our turn, baby, to fatten up against those crappy bottom division teams, just like the Phillies have been doing. Now they're playing the Braves, who, by the way, weird. We're 2 months into the season. The Mets haven't even played the Braves yet. This whole new, you play every team throughout the season is so stupid. I hate it, but whatever. Whole point to you, Stoney, my opinion, I'm not moved by this little hot streak from the Phillies. They're playing out of their minds, and we're still only a game and a half back. Let's see how things go now when they start playing the Dodgers and some of the tougher teams in the league while we get our chance against some of the lesser teams like the Rockies and the White Sox. Let's take a look at tomorrow's matchup. So again, afternoon game, it will be Griffin Canning, who has just been dazzling this year. I mean, what more could you say? 10 starts so far here in 2025, a 2.88 ERA. His last 7 games, a 2.31 ERA. He has gone 35 innings. He's given up just 30 hits and 13 walks during that time, and he has struck out 34 batters. He has just been ridiculous. I mean, I never would have imagined this when the Mets signed him in the offseason. I was like, wow, great. A little guy to put in AAA, a little bit of, depth for this rotation should everything go wrong. Sure enough, dude finds himself in the starting rotation to start opening day, and he has grabbed the ball by the balls, and he is not leaving this rotation anytime soon. So Griffin Canning out on the bump for the Mets tomorrow, and he will be taking on Steve Smith. I'm thinking the wide receiver from the Panthers all those years. Shane Smith for the White Sox. So Smith's 25 years old, and he is a former top prospect for them. So has some pretty good stuff so far here in 2025. He has made 10 starts and has a 2.36 ERA over 53 1/3 innings pitched. So look, at the end of the day, 3-game series with the White Sox. We entered this one thinking the Mets should sweep them. This is one of the worst teams in baseball. They've played decent. I haven't seen a comedy of errors for them tripping over themselves in the field or anyone pitching and unable to find the strike zone and walk in the ballpark. But they're not a good team. They don't hit very well. Their starting pitching isn't great. Their relievers aren't great. They seem like an average baseball team, but they're 17-38, 21 games under 500. This is a game the Mets should win, and this is a series the Mets should sweep. So hopefully that will be the case. If they do that, the Mets will have their 5th consecutive victory. They would move to 35-21, 14 games over 500. That would be their new high water mark for the season, and they would hopefully keep pace with the Phillies, who, again, now they're playing the Braves. So let's see how they fare against some of the better teams in Major League Baseball now that they've had their way with the Colorado Rockies, who shouldn't even be in the majors at this point. Pretty ridiculous. Stoney, if we could beat the Dodgers at their stadium, that means something. It does. I do think that would be nice to see for sure. They did it a little bit in the NLCS last year. They won 1 game there and then lost the other 2. It's just like, the regular season is so different from like a playoff atmosphere that I can't like quantify what a regular season win means, even in another team's park. But it would definitely be good for their confidence, good for their psyche to be like, oh, yeah, this is where our season ended last year on this very field here at Dodger Stadium. And then to go out there and win 3 out of 4 or even a split, depending on how it goes. Like, yeah, I think that would be great for this team's ego, for their psyche moving forward throughout the rest of the season. But if they get swept, it doesn't tell me that the Mets can't be the Dodgers. It doesn't tell me the Mets won't make the playoffs or couldn't beat them in the playoffs. And if they sweep the Dodgers, it's not going to tell me that the Mets should run away with the National League and that they're going to do it again in the playoffs against them. It's a whole nother beast, but totally with you there. Stoney would obviously be a good sign. At the end of the day, we just want to continue to stack up wins, keep pace in the National League East, and hopefully take our rightful spot at the top when the Phillies do finally come back down. So, guys, that is going to do it for tonight's stream. Again, the Mets get this victory over the White Sox, a final of 6-4. They take the first 2 games of the series. Be sure to leave this video a like, you guys. If you are a Mets fan and you want daily Mets content, be sure to subscribe. And right when I finish and log off here, be sure to check out my latest video, The Bizarre Baseball Journey of Bobby Valentine, MLB's Secret Genius. That is out on my channel right now. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We will have a post-game stream tomorrow afternoon after the Mets and White Sox, hopefully talking about a series sweep. That is going to do it for tonight, guys. Thank you for joining Stoney, Buzzbase, Elvis Solano, and everybody else. Appreciate it all. Metropoly Jonathans as well. That is it for now. I'm Tony Metro. Until next time, stay true to the orange and blue.